September 28th, 2020, a game called Genshin Impact was released on all gaming platforms. It was your usual gacha game, but there was still something different about it. At first, it felt like a Breath of the Wild ripoff, but the farther you got into it and the more story that came out, it became its own thing. I started playing around December 2020, so you could say I'm an OG player. I had a lot of fun fighting and using different elements, but there was one character that stuck out the most. Diluc Ragnvindr. Voiced by Sean Chiplock and having fiery red hair, I was awestruck with this guy. He had such a mysterious vibe to him. He was very reserved yet determined with stopping the Vitui and the Abyss, the two big bads of the game. Even with his reservations to the Knights of Favonius, he still did everything he could to protect the people of Mondstadt. This wasn't his first introduction though. In late 2018, there was a short webcomic that showed the backstory of Master Diluc that helps with understanding why he is the way he is. I'll be talking about that and so much more in this video. Like I said, I started playing in December 2020 and was consistent for 2 years straight. However, with the release of Sumeru and my phone struggling, I took an almost 3-year break. I started again around October of 2025 and was immediately hooked once again. Catching up on all the lore has been quite the challenge since I'm actually sitting through all the Archon Quest dialogue, genuine torture in Act 3 of Sumeru and the Fortress of Meropide and Fontaine. But I'm finally on to the lunar/not quite part of the story. I still have my heart set for Master Diluc, but the new characters such as Flynn's and Ilua have still caught my eye. Flynn's is such an interesting person, and I'm excited to know more about him. I still have soft spots for older characters too, like Xiao and Venti. Xiao was the first character I ever spent money on, and I just recently got his C1. I'm not the best at building characters. I play just to have fun, not to be, quote, meta or whatever. Anyway, we got a bit sidetracked with that. I've always wanted to talk about Master Diluc's character since he often gets boiled down to the knockoff Batman that hates his brother when that's not the case at all. He has so much more depth to his character, which is so disheartening to know with how old he's presumed to be. It feels like another Shadow the Hedgehog situation where people only take surface level knowledge of the character and think that's all there is to them. Not every character is right in your face with who they are and what they stand for. That's one of the fun things about consuming media. You get to dig into why they do the things they do and how they got to that point. I love analyzing my favorite characters, and I wish more people had that sort of media literacy. I'm not saying you have to like the character, but spreading misinformation or outright ignoring it is super annoying. I hate explaining over and over and over again why what people say isn't correct. We all know how many times I've had to explain Shadow's age, and I'd rather not go through something like that again with any other character. But yeah, this video is my love letter to Master Diluc as a whole, and without any more delay, let's get started. As mentioned before, Genshin Impact has a short webcomic of events that happened before the game. In the first half of the comic, we delve into Master Diluc's past. We see that Diluc was actually a former knight himself, the youngest cavalry captain the Knights of Favonius have ever had. He was 14 when he joined the Knights, and was one of their proudest achievements. His father, Master Crepus, was also exceptionally proud. I mean, how could he not? Diluc got his vision at the age of 10, symbolizing his passion for not only the Knights, but for his father's teachings. Nobody treasured Diluc more than his father. Now, Master Crepus had 2 children. The other he adopted is named Kaya, and the 3 of them became one big happy family. Diluc and Kaya had been close ever since they were kids, doing practically anything together. They both had the dream of joining the Knights, and they both succeeded. With all this praise and good fortune happening, you would never expect anything terrible to happen to these 3, right? At the age of 18, Diluc and his father were attacked by a terrible monster named Ursa the Drake. There was no time to call for help. This was the strongest monster he had ever faced. What could he possibly do? In an instant, his father, the man who was denied by the Knights, shunned by the gods, defeated said beast with an unknown power. But that massive amount of power didn't hesitate to backfire on Master Krepis. Wounding him, he lay in his son's arms. The last thing Master Krepis saw of his son was his distraught expression. His last memory will be the pain of his beloved son as he watches his father slip away. Kaya was too late. There was nothing he could do. After this horrid incident, Diluc returned to the Knights' headquarters and with a heavy heart explained everything that happened. You'd think the Knights of Favonius would do something, helpful in this situation, but Inspector Erok told Diluc to conceal the truth. What? Being told to conceal the truth for the sake of the Knight's reputation to the public? Keep this a secret? How could you even think about that right now? With such an outrageous request, Diluc left, not only the Knights, but Mondstadt as a whole, leaving his vision behind. He wanted answers. Answers for not only him, but for his father too. He needed to find who was responsible for this destructive power, and he was going to end it. However, before Diluc left Mondstadt, the same day his father was taken from him, Kaya had some news. Kaya hadn't interfered when Diluc and Krepis had their final moments, not wanting to ruin the moment, but also not feeling welcomed. While, yes, Kaya was adopted by Master Krepis, he always felt a huge amount of guilt. What guilt could he possibly feel, you may ask? Kaya isn't all that he seems. He was put in Mondstadt as a spy for Conria. He was constantly torn on which side he should support. His blood who abandoned him in an unknown land, or the people that treated him with so much love and acceptance. This was eating him alive until Master Krepis passed. Kaya felt liberated yet ashamed. He should have helped his adoptive father, but he was too late. He should have been there for his brother grieving, but stayed back anyway. Kaya couldn't take it anymore. He couldn't hide the truth from Diluc. He knew this would destroy Diluc even more, but he anticipated this. They both drew their swords, and in the heat of battle, no pun intended, Kaya fought back with his newfound ice powers. This unfortunate battle is how Kaya received his vision. Kaya fought the only family he has left in Mondstadt, and is constantly reminded of how they'll never be the same again, as long as he carries that vision. Diluc traveled all across the 7 nations of Teyvat, searching for anything to get him closer to the truth. Everything pointed toward an organization, the Fatui. He learned they made fake visions they called delusions, that could amplify the user's power with the risk of backfiring. This is exactly what caused his father's death. But why? Why would Master Krepis own such a thing? To do good? Diluc wasted no time, destroying as many Fatui strongholds as possible. This didn't go unnoticed. The Fatui's rulers, the Harbingers, were monitoring him. When he proved too much, they stepped in to stop him. Narrowly escaping death from the Harbingers with the help of an outside source, he took a second to breathe. This third-party helper explained they were part of a vast underground intelligence network and said they had been watching Diluc as well. With his close encounter with death and looking back at his past actions, his past carelessness, shortcomings, he decided to join this network. Just like before, he excelled at his work in this underground network, quickly climbing the ranks, but would this restore Diluc's faith? The faith that was destroyed along with his father? After being away for 4 years, Diluc returned to Mondstadt, returned to his home. He took over as head of the family, taking over Dawn Winery. In his 4-year absence, Inspector Eric was shown to be a traitor. Grandmaster Varka set off on an expedition, leaving Jean as the acting Grandmaster. You'd think such an important person as Master Diluc would be a huge occasion, but his return went practically unnoticed. What could possibly be more interesting than the Master Diluc? You know, the guy that was basically missing for 4 years? The people of Mondstadt were more focused on who this mysterious man that was protecting them at night. People nicknamed him Dark Knight Hero, and Master Diluc would hear that more often than he'd like while bartending at Angelshare. All this background on Master Diluc happens way before the start of the game. When we first meet Master Diluc in-game, he seems very reserved and a bit cold towards people. It's not until he sees us, the player, help protect Mondstadt where he lowers his guard a bit. He still doesn't reveal much about himself, but Master Diluc is very forward on his dislike of the Knights and how inefficient they are. He still holds that grudge from years ago, and no one fully blames him on that. By the end of the Mondstadt Archon quest, he seems more open to help from us, but only us. It takes him quite a while for him to be more open with the Knights. Master Diluc gets a short story quest after the Archon quest where it goes into why he turns to vigilantism. I can't even say that. Instead of joining the Knights again. He explains that not only does he hate the Knights, he hates how slow they are in dealing with dangerous situations. He wants to protect his city more than anything, so if this is the only way he can, he will do it. Master Diluc isn't used as a super important character once in other nations, but did appear in many limited time events and one other interlude chapter for Mondstadt. Before the interlude chapter, he appeared in the first Wind Bloom Festival in 1.4, still the usual somber Master Diluc we saw before, but was more open to the festivities. In 1.6, he appeared in the Golden Apple Archipelago event that included many other Mondstadt characters such as Kaya, Jean, Klee, and Albedo. This was a summer event that was created by Klee's mother, Alice. She wanted Klee to have fun with all the other guests. This was one of my favorite limited events because 1. We got more Master Diluc content, and 2. This gave us another chance to see him and Kaya interact outside of what happened in their past. We see as Kaya is still rather teasing to Master Diluc, and he of course ignores it. But there is a piece of dialogue that makes my heart ache for these two.
Diluc, you're a man who knows his own mind. So help me decide. Is it seabird hunting time? Or seashell collecting time?
What is that supposed to mean?
Come now, Diluc, be nice. Do you really want to stay here and do nothing at all? We might as well find a way to pass the time. I simply thought collecting seashells might be fun. It was last time. Although, we were much younger then.
I didn't know you still remembered anything from back then.
Doomed siblings gotta be one of the worst pains ever. I so badly want them to get along again, to be close again. I know they can never go back to how they were before, but they could at least hang out more or something. Anyway, one of the last important limited time quests was Hidden Strife in 2.8. This delves into Master Diluc's past again, specifically when he wore the outfit Red Dead of the Night. Still the only 5-star skin in the whole game, but Diluc definitely has a warmer attitude towards us, the player, as we help the leyline anomalies. We hear in the way that he talks about the Knights how much he dislikes them, but he says, "I don't like working closely with the Knights of Favonius because of our differences in philosophy, but that doesn't mean we can't watch each other's backs." Even with his gripes with the Knights, he still gives them aid without them knowing. In the interlude chapter in Mondstadt, Master Diluc shows up as a witness as well as an audience member for the trial of Albedo. TLDR, Albedo and the Knights set up a fake trial because monsters from Dragonspine have and will be infiltrating Mondstadt, and this was how they would catch them off guard. Diluc wasn't incredibly important, but he still had a nice moment with Kaya, saying he only knew something was wrong because of how he was acting. Plus, near the end, they were seen walking and talking with one another. Master Diluc has also shown up in 2 recent events/stories, one being the most recent Windbloom, where he was crucial in defeating an alternate version of Dvalin. He honestly seemed more relaxed around the Knights this go around, probably because of us, the player, but I also think it's because he actually made friends with more people in the Knights other than Kaya and Jean. He also shows up in Varka's story quest saying,
I have no intention of returning to the Knights of Favonius, but I trust you will find a way to manage on your own.
It warms my heart to see that even with everything that's happened in his past, he still shows care for Grand Master Varka. The growth he's had from the first time we met him to now is it makes me so happy. Master Diluc is proof that you can change. You can be better. You can. At the end of it all, Master Diluc... Okay, I'm done with the bit. Diluc will forever and always be my favorite Genshin character. There's no amount of new and flashy characters that could take the spot from him. He has such deep and complex feelings towards the Knights of Favonius and with Mondstadt itself. He's fought so many battles physically and mentally, yet people boil him down to a depressed, anger-ridden guy who pretends to be Batman. Sure, it can be funny at times, but there are people out there that refuse to see how important Diluc is to the lore. They love to compare his model to new characters. They say he isn't relevant. They say he isn't meta, like, oh my god, shut up. You can totally dislike a character. They aren't made for everyone, but why do we resort to making fun of and or undermining people for liking a character? Why does the internet love being so negative all the time? I just want to enjoy something without people, quote, needing to make me feel like shit. If I'm not hurting you, then leave me alone. Okay, I got a little sidetracked with that. It's just so frustrating to share your joy on the internet because there's always someone who has a problem. It's so easy to ignore people or block them instead of hating on them. But yeah, Diluc Ragnvindr is relevant. That underground intelligence network is the same one Nefer is part of. They know each other. That's relevant. Anyhow, like I said, Diluc is my number one, and I genuinely don't think that will ever change. His constant evolving and constant relevance is so intriguing to me, and he's the reason I love hearing Sean Tuplok in other pieces of media. Even when I don't know it's him, his characters tend to be my favorite. Kinger as an example. I hope this video gave you more insight on why Diluc is so somber, and maybe this will help you appreciate him and his efforts more. Not sure what I'll talk about next month, but I have some time to think. Maybe I'll talk about SAO again since there are certain topics I hadn't mentioned all that much, and honestly, I have a lot of fun talking about it even if no one else gives a gaff. But if you guys have any ideas or if honestly you'd like me to talk about my characters more, I will totally do that if you guys say literally anything in the comments. I love reading comments, okay? Anyway, thank you so much for hearing me ramble once again, and I'll see you in a few.